I'm Dr. Nicole Prowse. I'm a sexual psychophysiologist, and one of the things that I study is orgasm physiology. That's how this response is generated, the various components of it, trying to see how we might experience orgasm more easily or when people struggle with that response, and then what it might do for our general health. I was really surprised to see that there is an active religious group called Karezza in the United States and Scotland especially, that practice under the belief that orgasms are bad for you. They have a whole theory and like this big pseudoscience that they've developed around what they claim is the bad effect of orgasm. Along with that belief come a whole host of beliefs about how bad various sex acts are for you, including very common sex acts like oral sex and ejaculation that they say you should avoid for a lifetime. As I became interested in this, I do what any scientist would do. I started reading the scholarship on it, and it is a fascinating story. Karezza is a religious practice in which followers abstain from all intense sexual pleasure, especially orgasm. The goal of Karezza is to lead to the birth of a non-physical holy fetus that they claimed is the same as giving birth to the Christ. By giving birth to this holy fetus, Karezza followers are told they will personally experience spiritual transcendence. Karezza preachers claim that the Christian Bible wrote about a bridal chamber that supports their claims that we are all told by a Christian God to never climax. Their main source for these religious claims is an apocryphal book from the Christian Bible. Apocryphal books are writings that Christians generally do not accept as being accurate, like the Gospel of Thomas, which claims baby Jesus turned clay into a live sparrow. Karezza's wild claims have been rejected not only by society, but by the Christian religious tradition they claim supports it. Scholars who have reviewed the Karezza claims about a bridal chamber in the Bible concluded the claims are not credible, but when has that ever stopped a religion? Karezza did not start as a religion. The term originated from Alice Stockham, an English trance medium who also practiced homeopathy. She believed that ejaculate that was not expelled would be reabsorbed into the body and add to a man's magnetic, mental, and spiritual force. She notably expanded this idea to women, whom she also believed should never orgasm. However, most scholars point out that she hardly originated this idea. At least in North America, this was the practice of the Oneida movement, led by John Humphrey Noyes. Karezza practice, he believed, would separate the amative and propagative functions of sex. The modern practice of the Karezza religion comes from two married couples, Marnia Robinson and Gary Wilson in the United States.
Have you ever had a close relationship that kind of turned weird after sex entered the picture?
And Mary Sharpe and Darryl Mead in Scotland.
So the porn industry does the same. They have paid psychologists, sexologists, who are constantly writing articles or appearing on television and saying, no problem here.
Scholars have published that the main Karezza beliefs come from Marnia Robinson's writings on her website and from her books. Mary Sharpe actually preaches at the Karezza Institute here in Los Angeles from Marnia Robinson's book, seen here on the table beside her heavily marked. Although this is their religion, they created a whole fake science to try to support their beliefs that is highly entertaining. Their claim is that sexual passion causes a dopamine flood from which you then experience 2 weeks of withdrawal.
Orgasm leads to a drop in dopamine and then a rise in prolactin, both of which are associated with multiple behavioral and emotional symptoms. And they last for 2 weeks, which of course is hard to recognize.
During the post-orgasm withdrawal, they claim women become bitches and start nagging and shopping. I wish this were a joke, but this is actually their claim.
Think about it. Are Mr. and Mrs. Rat growing apart? Is the excitement out of their little marriage? I don't think so. Perhaps Mrs. Chimp spends too much money or nags too much.
If this sounds familiar, it should. They make the identical claims about pornography now. Luckily for them, way more people hate pornography than hate orgasms, so they were able to slip their religion into this pornography activism more easily than they did their anti-orgasm activism. What do you have to avoid to be in compliance with Karezza? Well, clearly you cannot have an orgasm ever. According to their religion, you also should not kiss passionately, wear lingerie, have a partner who is overly attractive, have more than one partner, ideally ever, don't be promiscuous. Don't engage in oral sex, don't use sex toys. Pornography, do not, quote, crawl over your partner's body. It just keeps going. Basically, if it feels good, it's not allowed in Karezza. Why is Karezza so sex negative? To them, anything that inflames the passions is dangerous because of that supposed dopamine withdrawal that lasts precisely 2 weeks.
It's about not trying to get someone heated up so that you can then head down the path of orgasm and other things.
So you avoid oral sex too?
Yes, definitely avoid oral sex, and for us guys, it's like, oh my God, like that.
In fact, preacher Mary Sharpe claims this is the period that causes terrorist attacks. If only we could get all those nice terrorists a good woman who wouldn't make them come, we could have world peace. As you might expect from a practice that avoids ejaculation, neither couple has children together. Much like the Oneida community that rapidly extinguished themselves, Karezza may soon enough be in the rearview mirror as just another anti-sex religion.